Your Excellency, the Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Wajahena, Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Ahmed Idris Wase.
Because I believe we are all on the same page on one thing, and that is that our students have to go back to class. I believe we're all agreed on that. The question is how? The question is shifting of grounds and how to address the issue permanently. Because this is not an issue that is peculiar or started with this government. This is an issue that is recurrent with successive governments. And if we just use a band-aid approach and just address the short term without addressing the long term, it's going to rear its ugly head again. And we're just going to be kicking the can further down the road. So, what I'm here to seek, what is the barest minimum that ASU is ready to accept, knowing that you must shift ground, knowing that government must shift ground. It's not just ASU. Both sides must shift ground if we're all interested in our education system and our children. Now, my worry is this, and I've said this over and over again. Most people are with you. Most people are with us. No matter who the player is. But there's a tendency, there's a possibility, and I don't want that to happen, where something is so protracted, you now begin to lose the argument or lose the plot, like they say. It happens, it's a fact of life. You start off, you have very noble intentions, and there's nobody that can fault that. Your intentions are so noble, it's not for you. It's not for you, it's for our children. But whereas you can start off, I mean, they say the road to heaven is paved with good intentions. One can start off with that. But at the end of the day, as you go along and you remain intransigent or inflexible, there's a tendency that people get tired and they begin to look like, hey, listen, guys. I mean, enough is enough. We've heard you, but let's shift ground. Let's accommodate one another. That's why it's called negotiation. And that's what we're here to do today. Not to rehash the problem. We all know what the issues are. Government knows the issues. You know the issue. The world knows the issue. How do we now deal with that moving forward? So I think the best way to do this will be maybe to get perhaps a short presentation from the minister and from the president of ASU, and then we'll have to ask the press to excuse us so that we can talk, heart-to-heart conversation with ASU, not with any other person. And hopefully, if we're able to come to some kind of reasonable agreement, the leadership of the House, the leadership of the House will take it upon itself to meet with Mr. President and let him know what these are the issues. And we'll try our best to try and see that all parties can come to a point where this country can move forward. So I thank you for coming. I thank you on a moment's notice. I thank you for being here today.
In the education sector, especially with regards to the ASU strike that started since February 2022. Indeed, the strike has been of concern to all stakeholders in the education sector, especially with the Ministry of Education. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, who is unavoidably absent, Mr. Speaker, like you said, he is before the UN Education Summit today in New York. we have all been very worried and therefore tackled this matter, met with ASO, did all manner of thinking and consultations that we thought would have been able to resolve this matter now. But there is no solution so far. So we appreciate this invitation and your intervention. Mr. Speaker, however, I think by way of information, I need to let Mr. Speaker and the House know that about a week today, about a week ago, Mr. President granted audience to a committee of pro-chancellors of Nigeria universities who also took similar steps. And Mr. President listened to both sides and has resolved to make further consultations, after which he will also come up with the final government stand on the issue. So, Mr. Speaker, this step is not out of place at all. I think it will rather add to the steps already being taken by the executive with the intention of finding quicker solution to this problem. So I thank you once more. I thank distinguished honorable members of the House, and I thank the leadership of ASU for also responding to this invitation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
It's not looked at symptom as problem, but look at the real issues. What we'll be doing in this country, we'll look at strike as a problem. But when you check, strike is just a symptom of a problem in the system. Nobody will go around our university today and will say our universities are good. Nobody. Whether it is federal, it is state, nobody. But we still to look at strike as a problem. And that's why in the past, since 2009, we've had so many of them. When we're on strike, we have the urge to stop the strike. And when the strike is over, we go back to the old way. Nothing happened to the issue for which there were strikes. I think that is the problem. I also want to state that this is 7th month this strike is on. We have never, and you can check, and we have never been called to a formal meeting by the Ministry of Education. Formal meeting where minutes are taken and decision taken. You can check, not one. We have only called to a meeting twice by the Ministry of Labor. 27th of February and 1st of March. Between there and now, we have never called for any formal meeting. I'm using the word formal. If me and you talk on phone, we sit down and just chill and talk. It's not a formal meeting. And for issues that involve collective bargaining, it's not just issue you talk on this. So there will never be any, and we challenge the Ministry of Education to produce one document, 1 minute, to show that the Ministry of Education has called off for any formal meeting in 7 years. It can never happen anywhere in the world. When we started strike, university in UK, by city, we're on strike. It didn't take 2 days. Because they don't look strike as a problem, they look at the real issues. But we look at strike as a problem. If we also go in that way and say, let's solve the problem of strike, I can assure you in the next 10 years, our public universities will just be like public primary and secondary schools. Today, if you go around this country, less than 20% of our children are in public primary schools and secondary schools. But today, even with lower number of public university to private, 95% of our children are still in public secondary university, even with the strike. They still believe more. And less than 5% are in the private school. I'm not.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Go ahead.
Please. Are still in the public university because of our struggle. Any day we let down the struggle like NUT did, just give us a few time, we'll just to where we are. So that is why we are strike. That's why we are being punished. In Nigeria, in other universities, it's clear, other climb. When you people go on strike, you handle the strike. You don't look how to punish the people. You are aware The first thing the Minister of Labour did was to go and say, stop their salaries. Instead of solving the problem, the Minister of Education said, we want to use it to teach them a lesson. Teach your academic a lesson. So what am I saying? That please, let's look at the issues and resolve the issues and not look at the symptom. Like as we are going to go and we'll give all what has happened and where we are. We have considered. So we met with Nimi Briggs, with committee of, Musali Jibri, and we reached agreement. Both sides agree. So let us give to my principal to give you permission to sign. They didn't come back until we started this strike. More than 1 year. More than 1 year, they didn't revert back to us. We rejected or we accepted. That agreement was reached in May 2021. They came back to us in June 2022. More than 1 year. Before they say we rejected it. Say fine, in May, sorry. And then they set up another committee, this time headed by Professor Musali Nimi Briggs. And when they came to us, we said, this time we don't want to give you any figure. And we reached an agreement also. Please, for us, we don't even mind if the press can be here all true. Because Nigeria need to know the truth. We should not hide anything. So that we know who is wrong and who is right.
Bro,
we will not mind. Sorry, sir. Sorry, with all due respect.
You're very emotional and rightly so.
Sir, because when I'm speaking, you keep on telling me.
Hold on, yes. Well, let me just take charge of this. You're very emotional and rightly so. But it's not about emotions today. It's about solutions.
Yes.
Emotions will not get us anywhere. It'll only take us back. Honourable Minister, please let us conduct this. You are our former colleague. Let us conduct this without interjecting anybody that is speaking. Quite frankly, many have described this thing as different things, and the one I find most embarrassing is the description as a national embarrassment. So let us deal with this national embarrassment. We will deal with it indoors in closed session. It's not going to be with the press. We have already set the parameters and the rules for engagement today, and we'll stick by that. Once you give your presentation, the Honourable Minister has done his own. Once you do your presentation, we'll have the press excuse us, and they can come back later. Hopefully, when we've resolved most of the issues. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir. I think it's very important because we're meeting. They told you committee of Pro-Chancellor and Vice-Chancellors and others. As we're doing this, the same Ministry of Labour again. Rather, we're resolving the problem. I see ongoing. Even the President intervening ran to court. And the question I will ask before I will stop. If the court forced the lecturers to go to work tomorrow, what type of teaching will they do? That's the question. If you court forced Nigerian academics, say go and teach against your will. Just like the court forcing a doctor to go and treat a patient against your will. How many of us will go and meet that doctor? That is the question I will ask Nigeria. Thank you.
Well, I think if the courts and I hope it will not come to that. I hope this matter will be resolved. If the courts force the lecturers to go and teach, I would want to believe that what I know of you, you will teach the students to the best of your ability. You won't cut your nose to spite your face and say because we were forced, we won't teach you well. Yours is a noble profession, just like the legal profession, and I think this is the time when that phrase and I'm trying to be humorous now so that we'll lighten the tension. This is the time when we employ that phrase that your reward is in heaven. So if they tell you to go back, you go back and you do the hair. But know that we are with you. We are with you. We are with you. So, and members of ASU, and of course the Honorable Minister of State, particularly ASU, for the time spent. We've been here for hours now, deliberating on issues regarding the ongoing ASU strike. We have covered good ground. Let me just put it that way. We've covered good ground and we've made very good progress. Ours, like I said earlier, is to interface directly with ASU as an independent arm of government. Find out exactly go into more granular details, or, well, we knew the issues, but to find out exactly what solutions can be offered. As you know, they say two heads are better than one. Now that the legislative arm of government has come in, we are very hopeful, based on our deliberations in the last, how many hours? About 3-4 hours, 5 hours, that we are almost, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So I thank them once again for making this time out in the interest of our students. There were principally 7 areas where ASU has presented what we consider to be what I call requisitions for them to go back to class. We have looked at those 7 areas, and we have more or less agreed on certain things. In pursuance, or to finalize what's the meeting of our minds, we have asked that NIGDA, Accountant General and Auditor General, and the Wages and Salaries and Wages Commission will be invited. Unfortunately, it's too late to invite them tomorrow because the letters will only go out tomorrow. They will be invited to meet with the leadership again on Thursday so that we can dot the I's and cross the T's. And once that is done, the leadership of this House will await the return of Mr. President from the ongoing General Assembly. And we will meet with Mr. President and lay before him the agreement made by this arm of government, the legislative, by the legislature and the leadership of the House. And we are hopeful and believe that Mr. President will buy into the agreement. And with that, I believe this matter will be speedily brought to a close. In the meantime, between now and when Mr. President comes and we see Mr. President, ASU itself will go back to its members armed with the resolutions that we have come to today to get their buy-in. And I don't believe that there is an issue or a problem from what we've discussed, that it will not be a problem on their buy-in. And I pray and hope that there will not be a problem on our side either. Once that is done, I believe we'll all be good to go, and we'll bring this sorry situation to an end. I do not want to go into the details. I think the details are the minute details are not necessary at this time. What is going to be most important is that at the end of the day, hopefully, we agree on we conclude on what we've agreed on today. So I want to thank you also, the press, for being patient enough to wait, because I know this is important to everybody, and I want to thank you for your service to our young ones, our students, our wards, our children. Your service, your dedication, your commitment, and the sacrifices that you've been making. It is my prayer that the intervention of this House would speedily would bring this to a speedy conclusion. Thank you very much.